but I enjoy doing marketing. But what I've learned so far is that my first degree, which is Greek economics, is just your fundamentals, it's the basic. You are educated. You may not be skilled in Greek economics or agriculture, as the case may be, but you are educated. My master's degree in information systems and technology still helps me out today. My website is always functioning. It must always function. I know exactly how to use my social media assets to generate demand for my fashion business, and that's because of my IT skills. Okay? I was opportune to dress honorable here last year at the AMVCA, and by all means, he won the best dressed to the AMVCA. Many platforms were saying best dressed, best dressed, best dressed. And I knew exactly how many orders I got. And you will know that because they say, I want what Desmond Elliott was wearing. So it's not a case of I want the ivory tuxedo. No, I want what Desmond. I got to a point that they were asking me for the red socks he wore. But I understand the value of IT and information systems. That's why I don't joke with Instagram. I don't joke with Twitter. You know, all those things make me understand that that's a social world to reach people. Now, coming to marketing, I worked for British American Tobacco. I worked for Guinness Nigerian PLC. So I sold tobacco and I sold alcohol. My next destination is the church. But with fashion, I realized that it's the same thing. You sell alcohol, you sell tobacco. Now what I'm selling is clothing. The product changes, but it's still the same marketing. You're talking to people to buy your products, okay? So it's the same thing at the end of the day. So that's how I've kind of like managed to harness everything that I've learned in life into what I'm doing right now. Tomorrow, I may decide to run for, you know, So I would always use whatever I've learned in this process to also push into that. So life is a learning journey, but again, it's a practical learning journey. I put emphasis on the practical because of you guys in school here in Yabatech. It's practical. After I'd been a designer for God knows how many years, it was in May this year, I flew all the way to Milan to go and do a course in fashion designing for the first time, right? And guess what? It changed my life. I thought I knew. But once I went to a practical course in Milan for fashion, it was only 4 weeks. My whole life changed. I mean, Desmond, you should come for a new suit. We cut it better now. So thank you very much. And that's how I handle everything.
So after this meeting, I'll collect all the money for the adverts from him. Please, a round of applause for him once again. Now, you said something that struck me. In all your fashion designing years, you never went for any formal training, not until May. And what you learned in May, what you knew, but when you went for a training, your eyes were opened.
It's pretty much like you like a car, okay, right? And you drive a car. And you understand your carburetor, your radiator, your plug, your everything, right? You know all those things. Then you go to a school and they help you explain the reason why you have a carburetor and how it is made. Why you have a plug and what the function of the plug is, okay? Now, once I went there, I by myself right now, when I get to the office, I take off my jacket, roll up my sleeve, and I cut every single suit that I make. Now, normally, that would take me a day, but now it takes me 20 minutes. And if I continue, it will take me 10 minutes. You get what I mean? So if I'm making 20 jackets a week, all I have to dedicate is 200 minutes, and I'll be fine. Okay? And that's less than 3 hours, or 3 hours plus at the end of the day. So I now know my hands are now gifted, and I know the craft. And that's the most important thing. I was talking to someone earlier on today. If my best tailor leaves me, I not shake. He should go. I can do his job. I will get someone else and train that person. If that person leaves, I will train the next person because I am the one that is now skilled in the particular craft.
So, no matter how gifted and talented you are from a story, acquired skill makes you achieve faster within the less possible time. Please, a round of applause for him once again. Dr. Ebilola, reading through your story, I know you're an engineer, I know you're a PhD holder, and I also know that you finished with a first class. Please, a round of applause for her. Now, when I was reading your story, you said you were on the queue for NYC registration. And there was a long queue for people trying to register. And there was another door opened. And you wondered, you asked that, what is this office? You were told it's a Corporate Affairs Commission. And you registered a company. Now, my number one question is, at what point did you discover, at what point did you decide, or at what point did you know that you were not going to work for anybody, that you were going to work for yourself?
Thank you very much. When I got back from the UK, I didn't really like the way people approached work. People went to the offices and basically did the minimum they had to do to get paid at the end of the month. And I'm a very zealous, keen and diligent and passionate person. So I didn't really want to be caught up in laziness. And then I had to go to Abuja to sign on for NYSC. And my parents had given me some money to stay at a hotel in Abuja. On the queue for NYSC in 1992, next door was the Corporate Affairs Commission. So early in the morning when I got there, there was hardly anybody on the NYSC queue, but there was a long queue on the CAC queue, and I asked, what's that queue? And they said it was people who wanted to register companies. So I kind of figured out that the people who want to serve are much less than the people who want to register companies. So registering a company must be a better idea than serving. So I jumped onto the other queue and asked, how do I register a company? And a lawyer told me basically what I had to do, and the deposit that the lawyer needed was less than my hotel bill. So I gave him some of my money from my hotel bill and decided to stay in a cheaper hotel, and that's how I registered a company. And basically, I think opportunities will present themselves to you, and one just needs to take a decision. And every decision you make can either determine whether you end up being an employee or an entrepreneur. And the good news for people who have skills and talent is that you can be an entrepreneur a lot easier than being a full-paid employee. Thank you.
Still with you. Now, starting out on your own, were you not scared? Because I know it takes a lot of capital to venture out on whatever you want to do. Did you have any insecurity, or you had this 10 million somewhere that, okay, yes, because of this money here?
Not at all. First and foremost, I love maths, physics, and chemistry. So I had gone being one or two of the females in a class of males. So I didn't really think anything about being a minority, and being a tomboy, I didn't really mind being one of many men in any situation. So that was not a problem at all. Well, I didn't start my business, Lonadec Oil and Gas Consultants, with a lot of money. All I decided is, I have the skills, I have the capacity, I have the capability, I have the competence, and I can think through problems and solve problems.